Thinking back, would you say you had a difficult time focusing in class as a kid? Were taking tests in high school a nightmare? Was it ever hard for you to focus or sit still? Or maybe it affected your life at home, like your chores, or following simple directions, or finishing your homework? Well, these are all struggles similar to the ones facing children and teens across the country that have symptoms of neurobiological disorders. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, I've never had problems with that, so how does this affect me? And what in the world is a neurobiological disorder? Well, it turns out that 4.5 million children 5 to 17 years of age have been diagnosed with a neurobiological disorder such as ADHD as of 2006, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. So chances are that you or someone you know has been diagnosed with ADHD or a similar disorder, and what affects American kids and teens of this generation affects us all. Today I'm going to share with you some shocking information that I've researched about the misdiagnosis of children and teens with the symptoms of neurobiological disorders. First, I will describe the problem of misdiagnosis, then I will address the causes for this problem, and finally, I will discuss solutions to the problem of misdiagnosis in American youth. A neurobiological disorder is classified as a disorder of the body's nervous system. Now, diagnosing neurobiological disorders is no easy task because there is no simple test a person can take that can determine whether or not they actually have the disorder. This has led to, of course, a lot of misdiagnosis of children and adolescents across the country. Millions of children and teens across the U.S. are afflicted with these symptoms, such as a lack of focus, an inability to pay attention, hyperactivity, and disruptive behavior. They are misdiagnosed with neurobiological disorders such as ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and are put on medications that can be potentially harmful for them in order to treat a disorder they might not even have at all. Did you know that the diagnosis of ADHD increased an average of 3% per year from 1997 to 2006, according to Keep Kids Healthy? And that, according to an August 17, 2010 study published in the Journal of Health Economics, nearly 900,000 children under age 18 may have been misdiagnosed with ADHD, according to DSCN1230. ADHD seems to be one of the most commonly diagnosed neurobiological disorders among young people, so I looked up the symptoms. The symptoms of ADHD in young people include having a short attention span, being easily distracted, and or being impulsive and hyperactive. Sounds like a lot of children that I know. However, having the symptoms of ADHD does not necessarily mean that such symptoms are being caused by ADHD, because unfortunately, these symptoms are also present in more than 30 other disorders, ranging from problems with the sensory system, mental illness, or scholastic, psychosocial, or medical problems, according to Keep Kids Healthy. Stimulants are the most common type of medication prescribed for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. The stimulant class of medication includes a lot of really popular drugs like Ritalin, Adderall, and dextrine. And stimulants are supposed to increase the dopamine levels in the brain, and a lot of people with ADHD says this helps them focus while reducing their hyperactive and impulsive behaviors, according to the article, Are ADHD Drugs Right for You or Your Child? However, these medications can have adverse side effects, such as feeling restless and jittery, headaches, loss of appetite, difficulty sleeping, mood swings, depression, dizziness, racing heartbeat, and even tics, according to the same article, Are ADHD Drugs Right for You or Your Child? As of 2003, 2.5 million youths ages 4 to 17, 56% of those with a diagnosis were receiving medication treatment for a disorder such as ADHD, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. But most importantly, we don't know what the long-term effects of taking stimulants can have on a kid's health, according to DSCN1230. Not only is misdiagnosis of ADHD a potential danger to their health, but it's also costing parents and insurance companies, and even Medicaid, millions of dollars each year in unnecessary medication, according to DSCN1230. As I mentioned before, 4.5 million children have been diagnosed. That's nearly 13.5% of the population. So why are so many young kids being diagnosed with neurobiological disorders, and what are the causes for misdiagnosis? Well, there is no test to determine whether or not a child has ADHD, as I said before. So most of the problem with misdiagnosis can be attributed to a lack of professional screening and evaluation of a teen or child that is showing symptoms. 7.8% of school-age children were reported to have an ADHD diagnosis by their parent in 2003, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, unless the parent is a doctor, a neurologist, or any other sort of medical or child care professional that is licensed to do professional screening, no parent or adult should ever attempt to diagnose a child on their own. You must always consult a doctor or professional first. As we've seen, there's a major problem in America with children and teens being misdiagnosed with neurobiological disorders such as ADHD, which can lead to needless medication along with other damaging consequences. So is there a way to find out whether or not a child has a neurobiological disorder without risking misdiagnosis? Well, the solution that I would support is for parents, medical professionals, teachers, and any other adults that work with children to go out and seek professional screening before assuming that a child or teen needs medication. I also think that it helps to OLRA, observe, listen, report, and accommodate. I say observe because we should observe a child or teen's behavior before we jump to the conclusion that they have a neurological disorder. We have to find what they're lagging behind in and what they're having difficulty with. We need to listen because we need to hear what that child has to say. It may just be that they had a bad day or something's going on at home that's making them upset. We need to report it to that individual child or teen's parent or guardians because there's nothing that we can do about it except report the problem to them. And it should always be done in a discreet way, never in front of the child, never in front of the classroom. It should be dealt with at a parent-teacher conference or after school and in an environment where the parents aren't going to feel embarrassed. And I also think we need to accommodate. Adults should never let the fact that something is different about a child get in the way of their own happiness. We can make accommodations at home or in classrooms to ensure that no child ever feels ostracized or inadequate. Professional screening can take place at home also so that kids and teens feel at ease in a comfortable and familiar environment. So unless these symptoms get worse, then there really is no reason for adults to be concerned. Please note that I am not against medication, and in most cases, medication is helpful. Unless a parent has reason to believe that the health, happiness, or the best interests of their child are being compromised, you should always follow our doctor's recommendation in regards to medication, and never stop taking medication or advise a minor to before you talk to your doctor first. So I hope my speech has shed some light on the important issue of misdiagnosis in kids and teens by defining what neurobiological disorders are and showing that millions of kids and teens in the country suffer from misdiagnosis. And if we just seek out more professional screening and evaluation, more and more of America's youth can not fall victim to misdiagnosis each year and be put on potentially harmful medication. We should also observe, listen, report, and accommodate. Since there are no simple tests to diagnose neurobiological disorders, we can work together to decrease the risk of misdiagnosis in America.